Attention, bargain shoppers, you might want to line up early for the Houston Rockets and James Harden fire sale. Every possession must go.
And we'll talk to etiquette expert David Blatt about his 3 rules for visitors. Have snacks, take their coats, and be sure to offer them game 1.
It's time to wake up, NBA! Welcome to Wake Up NBA, presented by the Microsoft Surface. We're going to be reviewing the big stories, the little stories, and the huge questions of the NBA playoffs. Let's start at the top right now. What is your big story so far that you're tracking in the playoffs?
I mean, if we're just talking about recency and oh my godness, it's Mike Conley coming back from injury to lead the Grizzlies to a road win over the Golden State Warriors, scores 22 points in 27 minutes. With his face still significantly
a single
broken.
Eye,
right. Yeah. And what was so impressive about what Conley did was that his game is predicated on he can shoot the perimeter jumper, but he also gets to the rim a lot during the regular season. Like half of his shots are coming from 10 feet or closer.
Which also opens things up for the offense when he's able to get there.
He can drive and kick.
Right.
But all of his shots, he didn't take any shots from inside 10 feet last night. He did it all from sort of mid-range, from beyond the three-point line.
Right.
He made as many threes as the Splash Brothers did combined.
He did indeed.
Which is insane. So just the fact that he was able to come back for them and give them the lift that they needed to get that important road win changes the entire tenor of this series for the Grizz going forward.
Going back home, yes. Yeah. All right, my big thing, Blake Griffin, who actually may be the best player in the playoffs right now after getting his 3rd triple-double without Chris Paul playing at all in Game 1 against the Rockets. He is, I mean, obviously the rap on him early on in his career was like, what is he going to do beyond dunking? He's hitting everything.
Just everything.
He's hitting every damn shot, the mid-range game, and obviously with that pick and pop game going, that opens things up inside, and you have to respect him inside. He's been that good, and obviously the fact that the Clippers didn't need Chris Paul in Game 1, that's scary because he's going to get eventually CP3 back in this series, which will open things up even more.
It helps that the second best player for the Clippers right now might be James Harden turning the ball over.
That also is a thing
if that was a person,
that contributes to his success, and he's finding like the passing lanes are Blake Griffin's as well.
Right.
To you, what is the we won't call it little story, but
the sort of the under the radar story.
Right.
All right. So Kevin Love being out for the Cavs, we knew was a big thing.
Yes.
How it's manifested in this series with Chicago is that they don't know what to do, and they don't have a lot of options for how to defend Pau Gasol right now.
Playing so well.
All season he's been playing at a much better level than you saw in his last couple of years in LA. But especially in Game 1, his ability to hit the mid-range jumper when they don't really know how do they defend that. They don't have the depth at big man. I mean, you can't just say, okay, Timofey Mozgov, go chase Gasol all across the court. That's not going to work. Gasol's killing them rebounding.
Yes.
And that's a place where if Kevin Love were healthy and playing, I don't know that he would necessarily shut him down in that regard, but he would at least make him work a little harder.
Well, maybe the most gifted natural rebounder in the NBA.
Yes. It would at least take some of those balls away. It's an interesting question whether they can figure out how to mitigate the damage that he's doing to them.
Right.
Because if he's going to go out there and give them solid double-doubles in all of these contests,
it takes so much pressure off of everybody else. And Butler and Rose still coming off of injury, and to have that scoring threat is ridiculous.
And it puts so much pressure on the Cleveland offense to go up against this very, very good Chicago defense to try to counterbalance that.
All right, my sort of under-the-radar story, and it's hard to be under the radar when it's the best team in the NBA, but everything Warriors has been Steph, Splash Brothers, Draymond Green gets a lot of attention because of his defensive prowess, but really now, when we saw him get into foul trouble in Game 2, it was an enormous deal because he plays Marc Gasol so well. Gasol has struggled against Draymond, a smaller Draymond Green. But Draymond, as like that stretch four and a great defensive player, when he does get into foul trouble, it almost appears that the Warriors are as Draymond Green goes. For as much attention as their shooters are, he stretches defenses, which is ridiculous, and makes that offense so unguardable. And then defensively, he's so good because they swarm so much with him, and he's so versatile as a defender that might be the story moving forward is it might not matter how well Steph plays, or it might not matter how well Klay Thompson plays, or Bogut, whoever.
Right.
If Draymond Green is not contributing like he is capable of, the Warriors might be in serious trouble.
Yeah, especially because Steph and Clay had very off nights.
Yes, they
in
did.
Game 2. You can't assume that's going to be the case going forward in the rest of the series.
Right.
So, yeah, that's an interesting sort of key point for the Warriors going forward. Let's talk questions.
Yes. Big looming, big question.
Right. So you're the Clippers.
Yes.
What are you doing in Game 2 with CP3?
You know what? At this point, you already stole one in Houston.
You did.
And so, worst case scenario, you're going with a split, going back to LA.
Which is, nobody complains about that.
And they're playing at such a high level, and Houston's playing so sloppily. It could be a one-game thing.
Yeah.
We should probably assume it's just a one-game thing because they are that good. But I would almost not start him, suit him up, and see if you need him.
Okay.
But because there is a precipitous drop-off after him.
There is. And because it's not really just a question of what are you doing in Game 2?
Right.
It's a question of what are you doing for the rest of the series.
Correct.
Because a hamstring injury is not the kind of thing that you just say, oh, okay, well, we worked on it successfully. The trainers did their thing, and now he's healthy.
Right.
It just takes time. And so they really have to be cognizant of using his minutes for the rest of this series if they plan to advance.
Yes.
Because it's not like they're going to get to the Western. If they get to the Western Conference Finals, they can just say, oh, well, we burned out Chris Paul in the last series. We're fine. It's not going to work that way.
No.
So I think that's a really tough question for the Clippers going forward. I don't really know what the answer is right now. Maybe it's like you say, use them sparingly in Game 2, get that nice rest before you go back to LA.
Right. It is, as you alluded to, a nice matchup though for Houston with their point guard situation with Jason Terry manning the elderly Jason Terry, right? Yes, and Patrick Beverly beat up. I think my bigger looming question at this point, #1 seed in the East is Atlanta, and if they're not playing their starters together like they did in Game 1, they didn't do in Game 1, but they did do in Game 2. They are a significantly easier team to get one over on, and with their record on the road, they did not impress in Brooklyn in round 1.
No.
I have to assume that if Atlanta is going to continue juggling lineups in a weird way, Piro Antic should not be playing the minutes that he's playing, and I like Schroeder, but those starting 5 complement each other so well where you can't just dedicate somebody to Kyle Korver because Paul Millsap and Al Horford are so dangerous inside, especially on Al Horford. So if they are able to close games, if those starting 5 are playing together in the fourth quarter, I think they're in all right shape, but who even knows at this point?
Yeah, I mean, some of that has to do with can Al Horford stay out of foul trouble.
True, absolutely.
The flip side of that also is Kyle Korver has to find his three-point shooting form again.
Yes, he does.
He's just taken a swan dive in the playoffs, and it's still okay, but it's not the kind of production that they were used to getting out of him in the regular season, even in the last 2 months of the regular season. It's not like he's just been on the decline and this is part of that.
Right.
He's, dropped off a cliff and a very bad time.
And luckily Carroll has picked up some of the scoring, but that they do need Kyle Korver, especially late in games. All right, that has been the show. We have something fun, though, at the end, because it's not all that often that we get a hammer-wielding man getting stuck in a net and needing police and fire assistance. I can't even describe the situation.
He's just bringing basketball back to Seattle, as people have demanded for years. You got what you wanted, Seattle fans. I'm very sorry that this man had to be the bringer of basketball.
I could watch this. This could be my new screensaver. Just him swaying in the breeze.
I think in a 5-game series, he probably takes 2 off the Kings.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, if he gets to keep the hammer.
All right. Thank you very much for watching Wake Up NBA presented by Microsoft Surface. His name is Ryan. My name is Dan. We'll see you next week.